Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the CD guy, Johnny Z here. Thank you so much for tuning back into the channel, and today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the 2025 remix by Steven Wilson of Deep Purple, Made in Japan. Deep Purple's classic 1972 live album, Made in Japan, has been reissued as 5 CD and Blu-ray and 10 LP box sets featuring newly remixed versions of all 3 of its concerts, and the 10 LP box set features a new stereo mix of the original double LP by acclaimed producer Steven Wilson of Porcupine Tree, and all 3 concerts newly remixed by Richard Digby Smith. Also, here you have several rare single edits as well, and both CD and vinyl sets are similar to what was released back in 2014, but the key differences here are the new stereo mixes of the full concerts and Steven Wilson's mixes as well. And Wilson had this to say about the new mixes, saying, and I quote, "It's all completely as it happened on the night. The album has a power and sense of abandon that they never quite captured in the studio. Hopefully this new mix makes it feel even more like you're there," end quote. And so, with all of that being said, how does the new mix sound and how does it compare to the original? First off, personnel on Made in Japan consists of the Mark II lineup of Deep Purple: Ian Gillan on lead vocals, Ritchie Blackmore on guitar, Roger Glover on bass, Ian Pace on the drums, and Jon Lord on organ and keyboards, in support, of course, of the Machine Head record. And just to refresh everyone's memory on the track listing, which you guys can see right over here, track number 1, Highway Star; track 2, Child in Time; track 3, Smoke on the Water; track 4, The Mule; track 5, Strange Kind of Woman; track 6, Lazy; and track 7, Space Truckin'. All that being said, let's dive in now to the actual mix itself, the Steven Wilson mix of Made in Japan, my thoughts on it, and of course, I say this all the time on the channel when it comes to reviewing new remixes, new remasters, stuff like that. I am not an audiophile. A lot of you guys have more knowledge on stuff like this than I do. You have a better ear for it than I do. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys my thoughts on the new mix from, a layman's perspective, if that makes any sense. So with that being said, let's start talking about it here. Every instrument in the new mix is clearly defined and well separated, making it easy to pick out each player at any moment, and it's incredible to hear, the subtle nuances that I'd either missed or barely noticed before. The instrument separation is excellent. Roger Glover's bass in particular really cuts through the mix and it sounds phenomenal. You can even hear the click of his picking, which is really cool, and that was not audible on the original. Possibly mixed down back then. Ritchie Blackmore's guitar feels a bit more restrained compared to the original mix, which actually allows for, I'd say, the rest of the band to shine more in this new mix here. And while I occasionally mix the raw edge and presence of Ritchie's guitar, his solo on Highway Star, it sounds better than ever, just absolutely killer. Jon Lord's keyboards sit slightly lower in the mix than they did originally, and since I've always loved his performance on Made in Japan, that's one area where I'd give the edge to the original version. But that said, the boost in the rhythm section in Roger's bass and Ian Pace's kick drum adds some serious punch, and Pace's drum fills in particular pop with clarity and energy, and they really stand out here. The whole mix just feels more live, as if you were right there in the venue, which, Steven Wilson talked about it. That's kind of what he was going for. All in all, I think Steven Wilson did an outstanding job. This is easily the most immersive version of Made in Japan yet, and that's saying something given how many reissues this album has had. The inclusion of the Dolby Atmos enhances the spatial experience even further, make it perfect for modern speaker setups, and I'd highly recommend this new mix, especially if you've got a good sound system or a really good pair of headphones. And Steven Wilson has once again delivered, and he's been on an incredible run with amazing remix work for the likes of Pink Floyd, King Crimson, Jethro Tull, and Yes. And he remains the go-to guy when you want to preserve the spirit of the original recording while elevating it with, better fidelity, immersive depth, and a modern yet respectful reinterpretation of a classic. So that wraps up this brief review here of the new Steven Wilson mix of Deep Purple, Made in Japan, part of the big reissue box set here, which I ordered my copy. Unfortunately, it did not arrive in time for this review, but it's out on streaming, and so if you have a good pair of headphones, I definitely recommend checking it out. And, maybe I'll do an unboxing on the channel when my copy arrives, but really good on streaming as well. And if you're looking for it on Spotify, it's listed under 1974, so when you go to their releases, it's not right up on top with their most recent stuff. For whatever reason, it's organized down in 1974. But yeah, I found it, listened to it, thought it was fantastic, and really, like I said, the most immersive version of Made in Japan that we have so far. So 2 thumbs up from me, would highly recommend. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, turn on the bell for notifications so you don't miss a new upload, and let me know down in the comment section below what are your thoughts on the new mix and how does it compare in your opinion to the original or some of the past reissues of Made in Japan. I want to hear from you. And until next time, it's the CD guy, Johnny Z, signing off. Take care, everybody.